is a little slideshow, and that quickly goes over answer this, and also some of the ways that we traditionally did research. I'm actually just going to quickly double check and make sure it has been recorded, just so if you ever need to go through anything in the future, when you're going through answer this, you can just come back to this presentation and go through it. But here is answer this. Our goal is to increase productivity for researchers using AI, but we also want to keep that academic integrity. So, you always want to use your own tonality, the research topic, and what you're doing, and any experiments have all got to be done by yourself at the end of the day. And AI is a tool to help you, not replace you. And we want to make sure it keeps that way. But this tool will make it super efficient for when you're doing your research, whether you're just starting off or you're in the final stages of publishing that research paper. So here's a quick outline for everything that we're going to go through. As you can see, it very much looks like going through the ideation stage to the publishing paper stage, but we're just using AI. So if we move on here, the first thing that I find really helpful with Answer This is finding research gaps. Now, traditionally, this was manually done by reading and compiling dozens of papers, seeing where the gap in research could have been, and then from there, developing your research gap. Now, the issue with this is that sometimes, when you find a research gap and you think that it's a unique topic, there's a paper that has come out in the last year that's already done it. This happened to me whilst I was first in my research, and it's really good to avoid this by using Answer This. There's 3 different tools that you can use. One is the dedicated research gap finder mini tool. So you can just ask it any question. I'll go in, I'll find a research gap based on the sources that I can find. You can also ask the main literature review tool as well, which we will go a little bit into, and is extremely comprehensive with all the papers it gives you in order to find out research gap as well. And then, of course, you can extract data from papers to find research gaps. We're going to go through a little demo after the slideshows, and of course, make sure you sign up to Answer This. You should have been sent an email with a link to access it for free, and we'll go a little bit into how we can find research gaps with Answer This live. And the next bit, when we're doing research, we want to compile the papers inside of our space. So we want to make sure that we often miss a lot of papers that are valuable, even using things like Google Scholar, just because you need to put in so many filters when you're doing manual searches. However, with Answer This, you can put in a question like you would to, say, a GPT, where you're sort of asking it, hey, if I were to be in this research topic, what sort of papers would I need for this? And Answer This will go ahead and find the exact papers that you will need given your research. And then moving on, there's also the citation map. So once we've compiled, maybe our first 50 papers, and or maybe even our first 10 or even one, and we want to find more research papers that are connected, we can use citation maps. Mapping citations by hand is slow, and often we just skip it. But Answer This auto-generates these visual maps and gives you things like who are the top authors in the space, the top cited papers in the space, and also find a lot of papers that are related. And then next, once we've done that, we've got all our papers, of course, we want to make the thesis statement. So the step 1 is obviously to read key papers to find understandings, debates, and limitations. Really note down all the important points that you want to go over when you're making that research paper or even literature review. So you want to be really due diligent and the notes that you're making, the papers that you're compiling in order to make your thesis statement, and then you might even want a roadmap as well. And then in terms of Answer This, step 2 is to upload your papers and to use the literature review tool and specify that you want a thesis statement based on the papers that you've added, or you can also use Answer This is search engine to find the papers that you can make for or that you would need for a thesis statement. And then, of course, you can also ask AI to revise for clarity, tone, or scope, and then edit the thesis specifics in order to fit exactly what you need. And then next is the research outline. So, before diving into your literature review, you want to use information from your thesis statement or from the papers that you have and you've extracted. You want to make that research outline, and map out exactly what you need to do. And then the next one, and the one that Answer This is actually primarily known for, and was the first tool that we have, although, of course, as you've seen so far, we've expanded quite a bit. That's due to the suggestions that a lot of people have put in for Answer This. But for the literature review tool, you can make a full comprehensive literature review with like over 40 citations, but it depends on what filters you put into the tool, and we'll be going over that right after the presentation. But for literature review, we want to skim the selected studies to get familiar with key methods, findings, and theoretical approaches, and then group similar ideas to begin identifying themes. And then in terms of Answer This, this could look like uploading our papers, asking a prompt, and using filters to find certain research papers that we want to include in the literature review. And then, of course, at the end, we can add the literature review that Answer This makes into the AI editor so that we can play around with it. And next, here's a little bit about the data extraction that I had mentioned earlier. So we can extract any type of data that we want, whether it's quantitative, qualitative, or just something that we're very, very curious about. And we just want to like quickly skim over for the research papers. So we'll dive a little bit into this, but we can get anything from research gaps to limitations or conclusions of different papers. Next, we have the AI editing part. So here, when we've made a literature review or we want to add to a research paper that we already have, we can add, citations directly from the AI editing tool. We can also do things like AI edit. We have our library, so all the papers that we've compiled together will be right there, so we can enter in citations. This is also where we can generate outlines and also search for papers very easy as well. And yeah, in conclusion, this is a step-by-step process that requires your critical thinking. So, tools like Answer This will streamline these steps in research from, the first to honestly the last. But of course, you always want to make sure that you're putting in your own tone, you're putting in your own papers, and you're really putting the research together yourself. And keeping academic integrity, which is something that we always want to make sure that we keep with tools like this. And yeah, thank you so much for this presentation. Please enter any questions that you may have now. We're just going to briefly look into it. And yeah, then we're going to go through the Answer This tool, which you can access for free by clicking the link in the email that I sent out a few hours ago. So let me just quickly come back to sharing. Hello to everyone who came in during that. Just a quick reminder that we will have this webinar in your email right afterwards. So if you missed the first bit, we'll send the full video into your emails. Let me just stop sharing. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly go and grab my water. Okie dokie. All right. Again, what is research? Yeah, just anything, any questions that you may have, please do feel free to throw them into the Q&A. A quick reminder as well, to sign up the Answer This um, through the email I sent out, or just by going to Answer This and logging in. Um, you should be able to get your certificate if you sign up and then follow this webinar. Anyone who's joined in, you're eligible for a certificate of AI proficiency, but just make sure you sign up and follow the steps along here. Okie dokie. I'm just going to launch my answer this here. And yeah, again, feel free to throw any questions into the Q&A. I know this is a lot, so you may have to come back, rewatch again. But if you're ever confused about anything during the stream, make sure to type in your question into the Q&A section. And here we have. Okay, there we go. Share my screen. Perfect. Okay. Here we go. And yeah, hopefully if any issues with my screen sharing is going on, please do let me know. But I think this is all good. And yes, so this is Answer This. This is the home screen of the research tool. So from here, this is the main literature review tool. So you'll see that we have our auto mode. This is just our AI if you want to just ask general questions backed by sources really quickly. I'd recommend auto mode. Of course, we're going to dive a little bit into the literature review here. So this is our main tool. So when you want to make even a thesis statement, or if you're asking a research outline or identifying research gaps, you can specify into the prompt bar here, select literature review, and do some of the filters that I'm about to show you right now, and you'll get exact answers to your questions that are very comprehensive with line-by-line citations. It's a very powerful tool in order to boost your research right at the start when you're either trying to find research gaps or where to go with your research, to making a full literature review. So here, if you just signed up to Answer This, you will be on light mode. This is still a super powerful AI mode. And then we also have pro mode if you ever upgrade. But the rest can be done absolutely free. And then we have papers and internet that we can select there. And if we click more filters, we'll see that we actually have auto structured literature review. So that's a full on literature review, which has more citations, more comprehensive, very academic. And then you have dynamic research assistant, which is great for things like thesis statement, finding research gaps really quickly, and other general queries. And then also we have our deep research tool as well. If we scroll down a little bit in this databases section, if we go to research papers on the right, if we select choose databases, we have our 4 databases where we can pull research papers from. That is Semantic Scholars, OpenAlex, PubMed, ArcSave. Sometimes when I'm just like, let me see every single paper that exists, I'll click all 4 of them. But maybe if I'm searching for something more specific, I can deselect and just select one of the sources. So you can play around with this. And then in the web search section, we can also select just government websites. We can also just select EDU websites. Or if we just want to browse the entire internet, we can select all websites here. It gets updated every single day, and that's also the same for research papers. So if you want to find the most up-to-date papers, at the very bottom here, we can also select the publication date from where we want our papers to be sourced from. And then we also have journal quality, where you can select which queue of journal you want. And then you can also get patents as a source. And then we'll go into my library in a little bit, but if we upload an entire BibTeX, say our Zotero library, into AnswerThis, then we can go ahead and have it be used for a search here. So for now, it does take a little bit to run a full literature review. I'm going to show one that I had made earlier. So let's see this one. Make a literature review on the buildup of neutrons. So as you can see, when we go through here, we can see the sources that are done here. If we click on one of them on the right hand side, we can see what that source is correlated to. And if we just scroll down here, as we can see, it's very comprehensive. It's just going through all the nuanced details here. Challenges and research gaps, conclusion. This one, if we go down to the bottom here, we can click on filters, so we can see the type of filters that we used last time. This literature review specifically was made with light mode. And then, of course, you can see the databases I used here. But with Pro mode, you can expect sometimes more than 50 citations I've had come through, which is like very useful if you're like really trying to dive into a space. And then, of course, some fun things that we can do here. So if we go to this little citation area, we can change the citation style. So we can select APA, and there we go. Everything's changed into APA. Say we are looking at this detail, we really like what this paper is saying. We can click here. We can see what the abstract of this paper is. And then if we really like this paper, we can save it into our library. And say if we just thought that this literature review was stellar and every single paper that we've read through matches our exact criteria of what we want, we can just select all and also save it to library from here. And then the next thing I just want to quickly show you, which I find really helpful, is to change in the sources section this table to this table view. So if we go to the top right here, we can expand this into full screen. We can go to table view, and from here we can extract some data. So when we select the extract data button, we have an opportunity to make a custom instruction. So we can enter a prompt here, or we can just do like 2 words and say like methodology, or methodology is already listed here. So if we want to just go for something that's already pre-made, we can select like research gaps or limitations. But say we wanted to find maybe a specific figure that might have been in all these research papers, like if we were searching about climate change, all the papers were about climate change. We could say something like, what degree change was there from 1950 to 2000 based on these papers, and I'll go through each one and I'll put like what each paper said the climate change would be. Now that's completely made up, but that's just one example of what you can do. So if we select limitations, for example, and then extract data, we'll see it come through in just a second, and I'll go through, get the limitations out. May take just a second, and there we go. So we can see limitations includes its focus on low and moderate energy nuclear processes below pion. We can also go see here paper limitations, ongoing challenges. So you can just go ahead, you can read each limitation out of the papers. And then if we really like the extract data that we got from these sources, we can keep on doing this. We can keep on extracting more data. And after we're happy, we can actually export as CSV or BibTeX, and it'll keep the extraction of data that you had done. There's also bibliometric analysis. So if I select all papers here and press bibliometric analysis, I'll go in. It's going to pull out, citations by year, publications by year, some of the words that were pulled out of this. So it seems as if to find the buildup of an atom, nuclear was a monumental way of doing so, which is an assumption I've made based off of the words that it's using. You can see average citations per publication and all of this other great data. Now, I had mentioned the library earlier. This is what the library looks like. You'll notice that it's quite familiar to or similar to what you had just seen in the literature review tool. And from here, we can do similar things. We can turn it into a table view. We also have projects where we can create a project for any type of research that we want to do. So if we want a library that is just related for this certain topic, we can go ahead and make a project which will make a new library, and we can, upload any sources that we want into that library without, filling up another library that you don't want those sources in. And you can upload entire bibtexts into here, and you can also upload any PDFs of research papers that you may have. Talking about papers and finding papers, this is search papers. It has the exact similar filters that you'd seen earlier, so makes it a little bit easier to find out. We can enter any question here, prompt just a few keywords, and it will go ahead and find the most accurate and precise papers that you need according to what you wrote. And then we also have citation map, which we had seen earlier. This is what it looks like. So we can go ahead, we can zoom out. We can click on these papers. We can make these origin. Right now, this paper's the origin that I have. If we go into the metrics section, we can see that there's 77 papers that are in this citation map. Now, of course, if we go to advanced settings here, we can note that we only see 20 papers in the citation map so far. If we want to increase that, we can just go ahead, we can type in the amount of papers that we want to show up here. And here they all are. And of course, we have most cited papers. So we can see this one has 1,154 papers. It's the most cited out of all of these. We can also see the most connected papers and top contributing authors. And here you can see the origins that I have. Next, this tool is actually super neat. Here you can make a diagram based off of any prompt that you put in. You can go ahead and select which diagram you want. So, one that I always like to show is this flowchart diagram. So, one thing that if you're in CS, you might do is map out what one of your programs might do. So if I say make a simple Python flowchart, it's going to make one that's really, really basic, and we'll see it appear on the side here, and then we'll see what happens when we say make a complex Python flowchart, and you'll see that according to what you say has big differences in this tool, in the diagram tool. So we want to make sure that we keep note of what we're saying, because it's really, really good if you give it the right prompts, but you want to make sure you're intentional with what you're telling it to do. So here you can say import or start is input valid, no display error, ask for input again, yes, and then it goes through that one. Now if we say make a complex and long Python flowchart, you'll see it is much, much different. And then, of course, we can do this for any one of these. So, we have pie charts, XY chart, and these can be really nice. Just get a graphic of your research. And here we go. On the right-hand side, oh, sometimes a little bit too much. On the right-hand side, we can see that we have this big flow chart. It's quite long, as you can see, and a lot more complex. It looks like almost every time it splits in to a tree. Yeah, this is very nice. And yeah, so moving on from that, we also have our mini tools section. Um, One of the very trending mini tools at the minute is this empathy tool. We made it with collaboration with two other professors. It's just for your peer reviews. So we use a 7-step process called empathy. And what it will do is essentially transform your peer review um, by going through these 7 stages to make your peer review more intentional with the end goal in mind. So I highly recommend that you try this tool out. It's really handy. You just insert your review text that you want this tool to go through, and it will take you through step by step. We also have other tools here like Research Gap Finder if you want to quickly find research gaps. We also have the paraphrase tool, which is if you want to try and get different tonalities, but you have writer's block, you don't know how, you can use that as well, amongst other tools that we have here. And then finally, we have Teams, which is a very new update that's just come out. From here, you can create a research team. You can have members in here, and we can do shares and lots of cool stuff here as well. And the final one that I want to show, and I want to make sure that I just have enough time for Q&A at the end, is if we go into um, the AI writer, we can select one of the literature reviews that we had made before. And now, in order to do this, when we do make a literature review, so we'll go back to the one that we had earlier. At the very bottom, we'll see that we have this edit with AI down here. If we select this, we will find, the literature review in here now. We have all our citations out. If we click on any of these, we can see the abstract, retrieve content. Of course, we can view the publication if we want to. And then, we have our citation styles at the very bottom. And then on the right-hand side, we also have a suite of tools that we can use. So the first thing that I think is really, really useful and that I love to use is this little library option. So we have the papers that we have already into our library. So if I want to, let's say, insert one of the papers here, I just add a citation and boom, just like that, it has entered. Um, and then if we go to the search papers section and say, find papers related to, let's say, neutrons, let's make it super general. And of course, we have the filters here if we want to, be a little bit specific about what we want to extract. But here we can see these papers have come up. So fusion neutrons and transient radiation effects. So we can just insert this, let's say, into here. And as you can see, the full citation has just been inserted, which is very, very nice. And of course, gets added to the bottom as well. And then next we have the AI editing tools. So here we can add, say this big bit of text. And if we wanted to just continue writing, we can go in the top right here, select continue writing. We can give it instructions for what sort of tonality or what we wanted to add on to this text. Or maybe if we just want to shorten the text down or do something similar, we can ask it to do so here as well. And then we also have a source selection. So this is the really cool part about continue writing. If we want to keep on adding sources whilst it's writing, we have this whole filter section once again where we can select exact databases that we wanted to use, as well as these other filters. If I just say continue writing, we'll see it start to load here. Also from the edit selection section, from there, we can also ask it custom prompts. We can ask it to reword. We can ask it, to paraphrase, change the text certain ways. And as you can see, this section right here got added in. This is the continue writing part. And then, of course, we can, make this fit the other text that we have already. by using these different text editing tools. It's very similar to Word in the way that it does this, where you can edit the style of text, you can bold text, underline text, all in the top bit here. And then if we move on to the right-hand side, we also have this generate outline. So it works very much like the literature review tool, where you just put in a prompt, and then from here, it will go ahead, it will enter in any sources that you may have, and have it all in one section now. And yeah, that is pretty much the run through of the tool. If you have any questions, please put it into the Q&A section, and more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Let me just see here. Perfect. Alrighty. Let's see. Useful tools. Let's see. Questions here. I want to know about the duration of the webinar. So we have 10 minutes of Q&A scheduled right now. This webinar will be uploaded to YouTube and also shared to your emails as well. So feel free to look through and see the webinar afterwards. Also, make sure you sign up to answer this. This way, you'll make sure that you get your certificate after the webinar. So let's see here. We would like to know how to best with this AI tool, especially to faculty and students who will engage on research. I'm not quite sure. Oh yes, so yeah, in order if you want to upgrade to answer this, there'll also be a discount sent free to your emails. Um, it'll also be sent by our co-host as well. Do we have any WhatsApp account for the webinar? Unfortunately, there's no WhatsApp account. However, please do look through your email inboxes. Make sure to sign up to answer this, and also you will be sent another email after this webinar with your certificate as well. I want to know if you could send us this AI setup. Yes, absolutely. Let me just get the link for you. Okay, so in the Q&A section, I have just shared a link. Please sign up to answer this here. Here you'll be able to access the literature review tool for completely free. You can go ahead, you can look through the things that we had noted today. Please make sure to look into the Q&A section in order to sign up there. You'll also receive a certificate too right after this webinar. Make sure to sign up in order to receive that. If you have any other questions, please do send into the Q&A now. We will be wrapping up soon. So, if you have any questions about, how to make literature review, what prompts work best, or, anything that might come to the top of your mind, feel free to fire it into the Q&A chat. Alrighty. Doesn't look like there's any other questions. Just want to make sure. Oh, is there any tuition fees attached at the end of the day? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that question. There is no tuition fees from our end, apart from, if you're operating the pro, of course, there will be a monthly price, but um, more than happy with the discounts to make that a little bit more accessible to you. And of course, in the free version, you'll be able to have access to literature review tool and be able to do these cool research techniques. Uh, Musa and Peter, I see that you have raised your hand. Feel free to head over to the Q&A section and enter in your question or what you'd like to say. Um, and I would be more than happy to answer. Okay, dokie. All right. Doesn't look like there's any more questions. If you do have any, feel free to send in now. I'm just gonna wait another 2 minutes. If there's no more questions, happy to wrap up. Alrighty. Um, let's see here. All right. See a few more things into the chat. Can you please help us get the soft copy of your explanation? Um, I'm not quite sure what you mean by soft copy. Um, I'm happy to, if you're referring to maybe this webinar, if sending it after this, um, sending the full webinar after this video or after this webinar, if that's what you're referring to, definitely look at the emails afterwards. You should be able to have the full recording. Um, this is really exciting, educating. Thanks so much for sharing with us. Absolutely no problem. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Ali. Um, are we going to have subsequent sessions of this time? As of right now, this is the first kind of this webinar. So, this is for pure education. We may do this again in the future, especially if you find a lot of value from this. And of course, do play around with AnswerThis. I couldn't recommend it more for boosting your research and getting over that writer's block or not having to do the manual search anymore. AnswerThis is really great at sort of streamlining that research process. Lansana, I see you have raised your hand. And also you've joined 2 minutes ago. Welcome. The full webinar will be up on YouTube after, and that link will be sent to your email. So definitely have a look out for that. But also I see you have raised your hand. Feel free to send your question into the Q&A. Can you please share the YouTube credentials? Absolutely. This will also be sent to your emails afterwards, but if you want to just view the Answer This channel now, you also see other webinars and good videos and tutorials if you ever get stuck with Answer This. This can be a really valuable source in order to get the full utility out of the tool. And of course, make sure you sign up to Answer This. I'm also just going to send in the link one final time. make sure to go for into Answer This and sign up in order to receive your certificate. Okie dokie. So I think unless anyone else has any other questions, I'm happy to wrap up here. Thank you everyone so much for attending the webinar. It's been an absolute pleasure going through this with you. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at this email, or even just the email that we've been sending from so far as well. You can contact us via ayusha@answerthis.io, that has been sent into the chat there. Additionally, this full video as well as your certificates will be sent via email, so definitely have a look out for that. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure being with you all today, and thank you so much. Alrighty, have a great one, guys. Thank you.